Homeowners helping homeowners with expert advice. And by the all-new completely re-engineered 2014 Acura MDX, the luxury SUV redefined. Experience it now at your local Acura dealer.
Welcome to Toronto and Rogers Center. The roof is wide open on a gorgeous afternoon. It's 26 degrees at Rogers Center. Joe Madden's team won the opener 8-5 last night behind 4 home runs and 14 hits. Now it's time to take a look at the starting lineups. They're brought to you by Quaker's Steak. Real, durable oil. Top of the lineup, Desmond Jennings has always hit well in this ballpark. He had an RBI double in last night's game. The number 3 hitter is Evan Longoria, who's had good success against Mark Burley. .333 average with a homer and 4 RBIs. And right behind him is the rookie phenom, Will Myers. Against the Blue Jays this season, he hasn't played much, but he's done some damage. He had a home run to right field last night. He's homered to center field against the Jays earlier in the season, and he is a good-looking young rookie.
Yeah, Mark Burley will get the start this afternoon. 20th time he struggled in his final start before the All-Star break. He allowed 8 earned runs, 6 innings against the Orioles. It's the most runs he's allowed since July of 2009. Included in those runs, 3 home runs for the 3rd time this year for Mark Burley. Just has to get that changeup down just a little bit more. His control was a little bit off against the Orioles last time out.
Here's the first pitch of the ball game, and it's down and in for ball 1. Desmond Jennings, we mentioned his success here at Rogers Center. He's always enjoyed hitting here. Picked up his first big league hit right here in this ballpark. Against Mark Burley, he's 3 for 9.
And he is a threat to lead off the ball game. He's got 11 home runs. Combine that with some power. He's a very good leadoff hitter and do some damage right off the bat.
He's got a .324 career average here at Rogers Center, including 6 home runs. Ball on the strike. Outside. Obviously, the key for Burley's success is his ability to locate. He needs to work the ball to the edges on both sides of the plate.
That was the problem that he had against the Orioles. The cutter was just staying in the middle of the plate. It was just spinning up there. Wasn't getting the changeup down and away. He has to be able to hit the corners and keep the ball down.
Here's the 3-1 pitch. Leadoff walk issued to Desmond Jennings. Take a look at the defense behind Mark Burley. It's always important because Burley is going to give up some contact. In the outfield is Davis, Rasmus, and Bautista. On the infield is Sturris Reyes on the left side. Laurie Lind on the right side. Lind back at first base this afternoon. Aaron Sebia and Burley will hook up. And we've got a couple of Gold Glovers on the mound. Mark Burley and Jeremy Hellickson both have won Gold Gloves.
And an excellent fielding shortstop. Jose Reyes is playing some great short. Made his first error last night. Ill-advised throw, I thought, up the middle. Threw the ball away. First error of the season.
Reyes playing in his 30th game this season. Most significant time with that ankle injury suffered in April in Kansas City. There's a strike. It's a ball and a strike to Ben Zobrist.
You know, one other thing that Mark Burley does is he really neutralizes the running game. Everybody knows about his great move over to first base, but he mixes it up. He's quick to home. That's the show me throw. Just 1 stolen base attempt this season against Mark Burley.
Well, we mentioned he is a great fielder, and part of that is controlling the running game, being a defender. And he will neutralize Jennings at first. Zobrist bunts it to third, and Esturris is going to put it in his back pocket. Ben Zobrist picked up on the fact that Esturris was deep at third, and early on the Rays have something going against Mark Burley.
Time now for the Scouting Report, brought to you by TD Bank, proud sponsor of your Toronto Blue Jays. For Mark Burley, it's all about fastball command. He throws it about 42% of the time, and that really sets up his changeup, the second most percentage of pitches that he will throw. The changeup, batters hitting just .223 against Burley. He's got to be able to establish that fastball, get that changeup and cutter in there against those right-handers.
Evan Longoria, the 3-hitter, batting .278 for the regular season. He drives this into right. Bautista backing up. Desmond Jennings tagging up at second. He'll move over to third on the flyout. So Longoria is retired on 1 pitch.
And a bat that moves up the runner. Now a long fly ball by Myers can score the game's first run. I mean, that's how you have to do it. That's how you play the game of baseball. You get a walk and then a bunt single. Set up the whole inning.
Will Myers went 3 for 5 in the game last night, including his 4th big league home run. Pushed his average over 300. First and third, 1 out. Goes after that first pitch, and Burley got him to chase. Myers just 22 years old. He's acquired in an offseason trade with the Kansas City Royals. There's a drive into right. Bautista coming in, makes the catch. Here's the throw to the plate, and it is not in time. Desmond Jennings swipes his hand across home plate, and the Rays have taken a 1-0 lead. Bautista has 7 outfield assists. They're going to appeal at third base that he left early. Here's the throw, a little bit up the line toward the third base side of home plate, and that allows Jennings to score.
Just a little bit up the line. You see, JP's got to leave his position at the plate to get that ball. There was a little bit of a tag on it, tail on it. As he went for the tag, Jennings sets. If the throw is a foot or two closer towards the plate, I think he's got a shot at him. Jose, the Blue Jays' best throwing outfielder, 7 outfield assists, which leads the team. Had a good opportunity there.
2 outs. Ryan Roberts at the plate. Up and away. Roberts played last night, his first game since being recalled from the minor leagues, and he picked up an RBI in the 8th inning with a single to left. Finished up the night 1 for 4 RBI and scored a run. Pulls this ball into the seats. Roberts has been up and down with the Rays. He's 32 years old. Called up yesterday to take the spot of James Loney, who was placed on the paternity list.
Well, he fits what the Rays really do. He can play multiple positions, infield. He can play some outfield also. He runs a little bit. He's dangerous in these fastball counts here, 2-1. He's going to be ready to grip it and rip it right here off of Mark Burley.
3-1 count. Right, Tampa Bay, and they have changed their offensive profile dramatically. They are currently 4th in the American League in runs scored, but they took advantage of a leadoff walk to Jennings. It's a bouncing ball to third. Sturis will go to second, and the inning is over. But Tampa Bay, with a walk, a base hit, and a sacrifice fly, have taken a 1-0 lead. Given needs some offense. Last night, Blue Jays were shut down effectively after the 3rd inning. Reyes leads things off. Then Jose Bautista against Jeremy Hellickson. He's got a couple of home runs with a .389 average against the Rays right-hander. Encarnacion Lind, then Colby Erasmus. He's got an 8-game hit streak Had a single on last night's game, an infield single to the third baseman. During that streak, he has hit 438 with 5 doubles, a home run, and he's driven in 5. Rasmus is a hot hitter right now.
And another hot Rays starter, that's Jeremy Hellickson getting ready for his 20th start of the season. 8-3, ERA still inflated at 4.6, but he has been pitching much better lately. He's won 6 of his last 8 starts for Tampa Bay. Fastball command has been the key for him, throwing it for the strikes and using the changeup. Also hasn't walked a batter since June the 30th versus Detroit, so he's going to be around the plate this afternoon.
Defensively, this is one of the best defensive ball clubs in all of baseball. Sam Cole gets his start in left field. Desmond Jennings with great speed in center, and the rookie Will Myers and a strong arm in right. The Gold Glover at third, Evan Longoria. Zobrist and Roberts up the middle. Sean Rodriguez starts at first base, and behind the plate is the veteran Jose Molina.
No James Maloney again because of the paternity, and he should be back tomorrow, they are saying. So Sean Rodriguez will make his 11th start over at first base. He can play everywhere for Joe Maddon.
Jose Reyes will lead things off. And he leads things off on the first pitch. A rip to single into center field. Hellickson with that get-me-over fastball, and he got turned around by Reyes.
He was all over that one. Watch where this one is. Fastball command is going to be the key for him. Duck and duck as that ball is sent right back through the middle. Doesn't throw that hard. He tops out around 91 or 92 or so.
Well, you can see Hellickson react to that line drive. He flinched as that ball was just off to his right side going into center field. Reyes aboard for Bautista. Bautista shows bunt, taking a page out of Ben Zobrist's book.
And Evan Longoria saying, okay, you want to bunt, go ahead. I'm not coming in against you, Jose.
Now, Longoria made a couple of snares of a line drive down at third base, and he knows this ball club hits the ball hard, so he's going to stay back there. If you want to bunt, go ahead.
Yeah, the turf is very fast on days like today. Day games, it gets hot, it's fast. You can't play in too close, or that ball's going to go right by you.
Bautista, as we mentioned, 389 average against Jeremy Hellickson, and he's hit 2 home runs. You know, breaking ball strength.
I like the Blue Jays in the first inning. It's a quick strike type of offense with Reyes, Bautista, Encarnacion, the 3 best hitters that the Blue Jays have. You're going to see them in the first inning. They've now scored 62 runs in the first inning in 95 games, 4th most in Major League Baseball. Only Boston, Colorado, and Baltimore have scored more runs in the first inning than the Blue Jays. So John Gibbons got to feel good about his 3 best at the top.
Hellickson misses with that pitch down and away. It's 2-1. If you think Hellickson takes a lot of time, you're right. He is one of the more deliberate pitchers in all of baseball. He averages 25.5 seconds between pitches, even with nobody on. I mean, he is very slow and very methodical on the mound.
Deliberate. He's around the plate. That's the good thing. Doesn't walk too many batters. But
3-1.
He's 1 pitch away from finding himself in big-time danger.
Now, you had mentioned the fact that he hasn't walked anybody since June 30th. Edwin Encarnacion waits on deck. He hasn't walked anybody in 6 of his last 8 starts. He's a ball away from walking Bautista. Fouled into the seats up the right side.
Boy, Jose had a good rip at that ball. Tampa Bay infield really playing him to pull Jeremy Hellickson and Bautista. I'm not worried about there it is right there, the defense shift on. He was trying to put that ball in the seats.
Hit number 21 last night against David Price. Full count, nobody out. Reyes at first base. There goes Reyes. Bautista pops it up out in front of home plate. Hellickson calling for it. Now Sean Rodriguez calls him off. Bautista's retired, one down.
That could have been dangerous right there, but Hellickson comes through with it. Scouting report for Jeremy Hellickson. He loves the changeup. He'll use the fastball, and he, like Mark Burley's got to be able to establish that fastball to set up his changeup in his curveball. A couple of starts ago, Joe Madden went to him and said, forget about in and out. I want you just to keep the ball down. Fastball command, keep it down in the strike zone. Forget about the corners. Keep it down. It has worked out for him.
I think that's one thing Tampa Bay has really encouraged their starters to do is just pound the strike zone, pitch ahead, give yourself an opportunity to stay away from those hitter counts.
Hey, we saw it from David Price last night. I mean, he came right after the Blue Jays, throwing fastballs until he proved that they could hit them. Hellickson's going to be the same way.
Edwin Encarnacion, the DH this afternoon. Off the plate outside. Edwin hit a first inning home run last night against David Price with 2 outs. Long drive to left field. His 26th home run of the season. He's hit 12 home runs in his last 35 games. He's currently third in the American League in home runs. He trails Chris Davis and Miguel Cabrera.
You know, and we've talked about the pitchers as Rodriguez pitched that throw over to first base, that attempt. We talked about the pitchers and the familiarity of pitching against them so many different times. How about Edwin Encarnacion against the American League East now? Most home runs versus division. Edwin's hit 18 against the American League East now. Only Chris Davis has hit more within the division. But he's hit home runs against everybody.
Hellickson with the 1-0 pitch, and this ball is popped up. And Zobrist, the shortstop, calling for it, waves off Sam Full, battling that sun. And boy, he made a decision early on that he was going to stick with it. Waved off the left fielder very quickly.
He did that a couple of times in last night's game. He knows the outfielders have to play deep with Encarnacion. They've got a long way to go. He handled that, and he played a great shortstop.
Zobrist starting at shortstop in place of Yunel Escobar, the regular shortstop who's dealing with a hamstring issue. Zobrist is making his 6th start at shortstop. 2 outs now for Adam Lind. Lind did not start in the game last night. He pinch hit in the 8th inning against Joel Peralta and popped up to short. 2 outs. Hellickson gets ahead with a fastball. Lind's average at 305. Really started things going first week of May. Another check in on Reyes. At first, Reyes had a stolen base last night in the 3rd inning. And he came in to score on Bautista's 2-run homer.
Boy, he is deliberate when there is somebody on base. And for a hitter like Adam Lind, I don't think you can set yourself too quickly. It's almost like a runner at first base when the pitcher holds the ball and you get anxious and antsy over there. As a hitter, watch Adam Lind. He's just going to stand there until he gets ready. He almost freezes you by taking so long in between pitches.
Outside. It is difficult as a hitter. Everything in baseball, everything in sports in general is predicated on timing and rhythm, and Hellickson really slows your timing down and disrupts your rhythm.
So as a hitter, you can stand there, put the bat on your shoulder. He comes set, and then start to move just a little bit then. Like right there, just keep it on your shoulder while he comes set.
2-1, 2 outs. 3-1. Blue Jays had a pretty good idea that Hellickson wasn't going to challenge him with the fastball. He was going to try to get you chase that pitch off the plate. He would throw breaking balls over, but they don't anticipate getting many fastballs in the zone.
Chad Mottola went back to the 3 starts that he's had against the Blue Jays this year and found out that fastball's in the strike zone just 30% of the time. See, don't chase the fastball. Make him bring it in. He's going to want to show you the fastball and get you out with the changeup, get you out with his curveball.
Through that 3-1 changeup, and another indication he's not going to challenge you with that fastball.
That's just good coaching right there. That's being prepared for your opponent, just having a scouting report, having an idea of what he's trying to do to you.
Full count. Reyes will be off on the pitch. There are 2 outs. There he goes. Ball 4. Hellickson walks Lind with 2 outs. And again, he didn't want to throw that fastball over. Just hopeful that Lind would chase.
And he did a good job of laying off that pitch, waiting for him to come back in the strike zone. If not, just pass the baton, let Rasmus hit with a runner in scoring position.
Colby Rasmus, we mentioned his 8-game hit streak. He's hit .438 during that 8-game streak. He has been one of the Blue Jays' better clutch hitters in these situations. Rasmus for the season is at .338 with runners in scoring position. Reyes at second, Lind at first, and Rasmus goes after the first pitch and fouls it out of play.
81 miles an hour right there. They play him now to pull. We saw last night David Price on the mound when Colby was up in the outfield, shifted over towards left center field. Now with the right-hander, he doesn't throw as hard. You can see Desmond Jennings in center field. Well, now he's starting to move over, but they were playing him to pull. Looked like Dave Martinez just moved him, the bench coach for Tampa.
Rasmus gets jammed. Roberts waits on it at second, and the Blue Jays are done in the first. They leave a pair, and Tampa Bay has a 1-0 lead. July 21st, and the Blue Jays and Rays wrap up this 3-game series. The game time is 1:07 p.m. The first 20,000 fans will receive a Carlos Delgado commemorative baseball. Arrive early and enjoy the pregame ceremony as Carlos Delgado becomes the newest member of the Blue Jays level of excellence. For tickets, call the Blue Jays at 416-341-1234. Log on to BlueJays.com or stop by most Rogers Plus locations. John Rodriguez goes after the first pitch. Brett Laurie, battling the sun, makes the catch. Fans, it's time now for our BlackBerry Sneak Peek Stat of the Game, brought to you by the new BlackBerry Z10 and Q10, built to keep you moving.
Well, this has to do with Mark Burley and the curveball. Curveball effectiveness. You can see in 2012, only hit .227, and the chase rate off the curveball was higher. This year, they're hitting over .300, and they're not chasing the curveball. It's a big pitch for them. You're going to have to drop that ball in there also, along with that changeup and that cutter to be effective. Just got to get them to chase it just a little bit more.
And the way you get hitters to chase pitches is throw more strikes.
Strike one. You expand from there.
Luke Scott quickly behind 0-2. Trying to get him inside, and so laid up. Luke Scott had a double in last night's game. It came in his final at bat in the 9th inning. He scored on the Reyes throwing error, and here he strikes out. Good off-speed pitch from Mark Burley.
Yeah, that was the pitch that was missing in his last start. That was a changeup right there, and it stayed in the middle of the plate and then dove down right at the end. He had the good movement on. Watch the ball go down. That's what he needs to do. Breaking ball. And we've got Luke Scott way out in front.
Burley retires the first two here in the top half of the second. Jose Molina, the catcher. He shows bunts, and that was just a decoy.
Who's going to run for him? Remember that? Everybody yelled that from the bench?
Everybody from the bench would yell that. Go ahead, bunt. Ball and a strike. Molina's faced Burley an awful lot. He's got 31 at bats. He is 10 for 31, a .323 average. He's also hit a home run against the Blue Jays lefty. Ground ball. Reyes to his left, takes his time. He's got a strong arm and throws out Molina. Good inning for Mark Burley. He retires the side in order. We'll go to the bottom of the second. It'll be Asturias, Aaron Seavey, and Davis when we come back. It's like you've never seen them before. Sportsnet Magazine presents The Beauty of Sport. Visit sportsnet.ca/The Beauty of Sport. Beautiful cover of Sportsnet Magazine. Make sure you pick it up. And a big crowd on hand. It is another Junior Jays Saturday. 33,000 plus on hand last night for the first of this 10-game homestand. It should be an interesting homestand, given the fact that after the Rays leave Sunday, the National League Los Angeles Dodgers and Yasiel Puig will be here for a 3-game set. And then the Houston Astros as an American League team for the first time here.
I can't wait to see the Dodgers when they come to town. I hope to see Clayton Kershaw pitch. I like watching him, Zach Greinke.
Yeah, that's because you're not hitting anymore.
Well, for sure. I don't want to face those guys. I just want to watch them pitch.
Clayton Kershaw has thrown 145 in the third innings. He's second to Adam Wainwright in the National League. He's got a 1.98 ERA. Terrific pitcher. Just 25 years old. Meister Asturias takes the first pitch in there for his strike. Isturis starting at third base for the 33rd time this afternoon. Isturis, when it was a competition early in the season, appeared to be pressing a bit. He and Emilio Bonifacio were fighting for playing time at second base, and he just didn't have his game together. But it's been a different story since the 1st of May.
Sure has. Tough. Two players coming over to the same organization. They're told in spring training they're going to battle it out for the starting position at second base, and neither one of them look very comfortable.
Hellickson comes off the mound and throws out his Isturis. One down here in the second.
But now Meiser's had some playing time, and he's been swinging a red-hot bat, as has J.P. Sebia. Last night looked like a backdoor cutter with 2 strikes from David Price and J.P. But he was looking for something off speed, and he was looking for something away, and he got it. And homered to dead center field.
That was the second of 3 home runs David Price would allow, but 2 of those home runs came in the third, and after that, Price slammed the door shut on the Jays offense. From that point through the 7th, he allowed just 1 hit. Put himself in line for the win. He went 7 innings, allowed 4 runs on 7 hits. Off the end of the bat, Hellickson handles it easily. 2 quick outs for the Rays here in the second. Fans, if you want your baseball questions answered by our team of experts, email asktheexperts@sportsnet.ca. Keep your eye out for the home hardware Ask the Expert segment later on in the game. Pat mentioned that Jeremy Hellickson had been on a real good roll. The fact that he has used his fastball a little more effectively, not necessarily throwing strikes with it, but throwing it around the zone enough to get hitters to chase. Rajay Davis goes after that first pitch, an off-speed pitch, and Hellickson's ahead.
80 miles an hour, took a little something off of that. He says it's confidence in throwing a fastball down. I just have a lot of confidence in my fastball right now. And again, not in and out, just strikes.
There's a base hit to left field. Davis turns around first, full, gets the ball back in quickly, and Rajay Davis has a 2-out single.
Second hit in his career off of Jeremy Hellickson after the changeup. He tries to sneak a fastball by him, and Rajay says, not so fast, as he whips that bat through and releases that top hand to finish for a base hit. And anytime he's on first base, he's a threat to go.
Davis has been caught just 3 times this season. He's 24 for 27 in steals. He's second to Kobe Ellsbury for the lead in the American League. Brett Lawrie homered in his last at bat in last night's game. It came with 1 out in the 9th. Lawrie takes the first pitch strike.
Well, if Jeremy Hellickson took a lot of time with Jose Reyes on first base, I'm sure he's going to take a lot of time to diffuse what Rajay Davis brings over at first base. You can hold the ball a long time and really upset the timing of that runner. You could quick pitch him also.
Ball on a strike. Hellickson is making his 19th start of the season. He's only had 5 steal attempts against him. And that's one thing this whole starting staff does very well. They neutralize the running game. 3 of those 5 base stealers have been caught, so he gives his catcher a good shot at throwing out runners. Lawrie asks for time, and it's granted by David Rackley, the home plate umpire. Again, hitters tense up when they have to wait a long time.
Yeah, just like the runners over at first base, they'll tense up if you hold the ball on them. Batters will do the same thing. We talked about it in the first inning because he comes set and holds it so long. As a hitter, you can't get in your stance and just sit there. Just have to relax. And then as he starts home, then you can get ready. Brett's always had a lot of movement at the plate.
Here's the 1-1 pitch. Molina had a pickoff throw on his mind, but couldn't handle the pitch cleanly. He had shifted his body as if he were going to make a throw to first, but he dropped the ball. Two balls and a strike. Tampa Bay has a 1-0 lead. Rookie Will Myers had a sac fly in the first inning. Off-speed pitch popped behind the Rays dugout. Well, you would think this would be a time for Rajai Davis to take a shot. 2-2 pitch, 2 outs.
You know, that I was exactly thinking the same thing, because he's gotten 2 strikes now. He can think about trying to get Brett Lawrie out right now with 2 strikes. Either go for your strikeout pitch or try and make a pitch to get him out. Well, the base runner, pick up on that. Try and steal.
There he goes. Lawrie fouls it off. It was a good time to run, and Davis has done something interesting in the last 2 pitches. He had a very short lead. The first time Hellickson checked on him, he was standing on the dirt. Then he looks away, and he gets that right foot on the artificial surface.
He knows he's going to hold the ball on him. You're right. He's got 2 feet on the dirt when Hellickson comes set. And then when he looks towards home, bounces off just a little bit more. Looks at him.
Hellickson didn't have much of a step toward first right there. Pitcher is required to make a definitive step toward first base when they throw. He's got him. That came from the bench. The throw over, you saw Molina give him the thumb. That meant throw over there, and Hellickson held it just long enough to get Rajai Davis to make one false move towards second, and that was fatal. Rodriguez tags him out. The inning is over. Special kids price tickets in the 200 and 500 level outfield seats. After the game, kids 14 and under can run the bases just like the pros. Call the Blue Jays for tickets at 416-341-1234. Log on to BlueJays.com or stop by most Rogers Plus locations. Burley to Sam Fuld. This is with the second pitch. It's a ball and a strike. Hit hard. Laurie dives. It skips over his glove into center field. Sam Fuld has a base hit to start the third.
You can see Brett Laurie talking to Jose Reyes, saying that ball came up on him just a little bit as he dove for it. When he goes to his right, he's got outstanding range at second base. And one more time, dives for it and it bounces over his glove for a base hit.
You've played on the infield. How much difference is there playing second compared to third? First we'll look at Jennings, bunt this ball. That's going to be a base hit. Burley broke off the mound toward third base. Jennings pushed it up the first base line. It was no contest.
Well, that's twice that the Rays have picked up something on the Blue Jays with a runner on base, that they can bunt the ball to the corners and pick up a base hit. What's surprising about that is he bunted it to the right side. Adam Lind is holding the runner on. So he's close, and he hesitated just for a second, and that's all it took for Jennings to beat him out.
Yeah, there was a hesitation as if he wasn't sure if he should go to the bag and expect Burley to make that play, but that's his play all the way. So Jennings is aboard for a second time. It is first and second, nobody out. Ben Zobrist, he will bunt. Had a bunt base hit his first time up. And this time he swings away and it's hit deep but foul down the left field line. Tell you what, this Rays team is playing with a lot of confidence right now. They've won 11 of their last 12. They have moved to within 2.5 games of the front-running Boston Red Sox. They're getting great pitching.
Yep.
And they've got the confidence in their offense. Remember, they don't have two of their regulars in the lineup.
Yeah, James Loney and the shortstop, Escobar. They've won 17 out of 21. And they know what is at stake here to start the second half. In fact, Joe Maddon had a meeting Thursday after their workout in Tampa Bay before they came up to Toronto to start the second half. Said, hey, boys, we finished the the first half strong. The second half, let's do it and continue to play good baseball, get good pitching, play good defense, come up with some timely hits, and good things are going to happen. This is a tough road trip for the Rays.
The Rays will play more road games than any team in baseball in the second half of the season, including last night's game. They'll play 38 games on the road in the second half, and they have improved their road record to an even 500. But if you're going to win on the road, you have to do what the Rays do. Throw it over and catch it, and they do that very well. 2-1 to Zobrist. Just off the outside edge. 3-1. Hitters count. Burley's in a jam here in the third.
Probably won't send the runners right here either. You don't want to run into an out. If there's a line drive and they start the runner, that's going to be a triple play.
Good speed on the bases. Fuld at second. Jennings can fly. He's at first. There's a strike. Longoria is on deck. He follows. Look at Zobrist cover that outside corner. Right here, he's just thinking about having a good team at bat. Put the ball in play, go the other way. It's the tougher ground ball to turn for two if you hit it on the right side. First baseman, of course, has to go to second and get back to the bag. Second baseman has to turn against his body and make a throw. But if you pull it, it's a much easier double play on the ground left side.
And he's faced Mark Burley enough. He knows what Burley's going to try and do to him. And he just wouldn't chase that off-speed pitch right there.
So the bases are loaded. Still nobody out. And the ever-dangerous Evan Longoria. Doesn't get any easier for John Gibbons.
Well, he has been walking Longoria since the beginning part of this season. No place to put him now. Bases loaded.
Longoria was 1 for 4 with a home run in last night's game. He flied out to right his first time up.
He had been struggling, Longoria, 8 for 61 before that home run yesterday.
See, the bases are loaded full with the leadoff single. Desmond Jennings had a bunt single, and then Zobrist took the walk. Still nobody out.
And you can see the game plan that Longoria has right here. He's going to look for that pitch away from him, take the ball in inner half. This is why he is such a good RBI man, and he's had so many RBIs against the Blue Jays. He can shoot that ball to right center field, and that's what it looks like he's thinking about.
Perfect pitch from Burley. Gets him back into the count. It's 2 balls and a strike.
If he's thinking about pulling the ball, that pitch right there from Burley as a 6-4-3 double play. But he's thinking about trying to shoot the ball up the middle or to right center field.
Another perfect pitch, and Longoria obviously didn't want to chase a borderline pitch. Now he's got to expand his zone.
Do you do it 3 times in a row?
Well, he's got it covered now. He's going to try to cover that pitch with 2 strikes. He has to. 2-2. On the ground, Reyes hits short. Second for 1. Laurie can't turn it as Zobrist slides into second. Laurie had a shot at Longoria, who's dealing with a foot issue and
yes,
doesn't run well.
And he's not running well at all. And Brett's got a big arm, but it looked like he had trouble in the transfer. The catch and then get it into your bare hand to make the throw right there. So he thought better of it and just held on to it.
So Longoria will be credited with an RBI, his 54th of the season. Tampa Bay has a 2-0 lead. Still just 1 out and runners at the corners. Will Myers picked up an RBI with a sac fly in the first. Myers has gotten off to a terrific start in his Rays career. Only one other player in Rays history has as many hits and RBIs in his first 27 games as Will Myers. That's Rocco Baldelli. Baldelli got off to a great start, but Myers picked up his 17th RBI in his 109th at bat.
He's a little bit like Rocco Baldelli, isn't he? His inner clock, the way he plays the game, nothing too quick.
There's a base hit to left field, and Jennings will jog home with the 3rd Rays run. And Myers picks up his 2nd RBI.
Doesn't get too high, doesn't get too low. Plays the game at an even keel, which is a great attribute for a young player.
How about Joe Madden putting a 22-year-old in the cleanup spot behind Evan Longoria? Speaks volumes about his confidence in Myers' ability to keep everything in perspective. Longoria at second, and Ryan Roberts comes out of his shoes. Tampa Bay has a 3-0 lead. They have had 2 bunt singles, taken advantage of a couple of walks, and they have just played fundamental baseball.
Yep. 1 ball left the infield, and they had the bases loaded and nobody out.
Sam Fuld had the leadoff single. Came around to score the 2nd run. Desmond Jennings had a bunt single. He scored the 3rd run. Roberts out in front of that pitch and pulls it foul.
Right, he's not thinking about right field. He's thinking about yanking one of those change-ups or one of those cutters on the inner half, trying to get extra bases. Rays have averaged 6.5 runs every time Jeremy Hellickson goes to the mound.
0-2 pitch. Roberts hits it on the ground. Another chance for 2. Laurie at second turns this one and throws it away. And that's going to allow Longoria to come in from 3rd base. They had a shot at an inning-ending double play. Brett Laurie threw wide of first base, and Longoria scores from second.
Take advantage of what the opposition's going to give you. And the Blue Jays defense in the first 2 games of this series have given the Rays extra opportunities. It's got plenty of time to get him. You see Roberts wasn't there, but the throw's offline. And another run is going to score.
4-0 Tampa Bay. Sean Rodriguez popped up to the second baseman back in this second inning. Burley needs help defensively, and he hasn't gotten it so far in this game. He got the ground balls he was looking for, 2 in this inning, and the Blue Jays weren't able to convert. Brett Laurie is trying to get acclimated at second base, makes his 4th start at second base for the Jays. There's a strike on the inside corner. Just missed.
Where you can see every one of these right-handed batters, they're just waiting for that ball away from them and just taking that pitch on the inner half for Mark Burley.
Well, the theme of our open was the fact this is the 4th time Burley has faced Tampa Bay.
Hitters know what to expect.
Hit hard to his Sturis. He'll go to second for the force out, and Tampa Bay has taken advantage of some shaky Blue Jays defense. They have scored 3 in the 3rd to take a 4-0 lead.
Blue Jays on Sportsnet. Brought to you by the all-new completely re-engineered 2014 Acura MDX. The luxury SUV redefined. Experience it now at your local Acura dealer.
Welcome back to Rogers Center. Blue Jays got some work to do early on. They trail Tampa Bay 4-0. Jeremy Hellickson has allowed just 2 hits in the first 2 innings, and the Blue Jays have made another error. Brett Laurie's throwing error allowed Evan Longoria to score from second base on a potential inning-ending double play. Laurie was at the plate when Rajay Davis was picked off in the bottom of the second inning, so he'll start things off here in the 3rd.
Hellickson might be even more inclined to throw fastballs now with a 4-0 lead.
Well, David Price rejoined the ball club on July 2nd, and since his return, the Rays have gone 12-2. And a lot of it has to do with watching Price throw so many fastballs. He was on a pitch count early on. He knew he wanted to pitch deep into the game, so in order to do that, he had to throw a lot of strikes. His win last night was his 3rd win in 4 starts since coming off the DL, and he's done it efficiently. Again, last night he walked just 1 batter, struck out 5, and established a new franchise record for consecutive innings without allowing a walk.
27?
27 innings.
99 batters before he walked his first batter.
3 straight games.
Isn't that something? And it's follow the leader. Okay, he's our big guy. Let's just do it what David does.
Well, and he is the big guy, of course, the reigning Cy Young Award winner in the American League. And Joe Madden knows they've got their lead dog back.
Got some good reports also from Alex Cobb.
Laurie is called out on that outside fastball. Well, Jeremy Hellickson, just like David Price, is on a real roll. So when you're on a roll, what do you need?
You need butter.
You need some butter. Jeremy Hellickson has gone 4-0 over his last 5 starts. ERA under 2. The opponent's hitting just .224, and the whip very respectable. Strikeouts are a surprise because he is not regarded as a strikeout pitcher.
Not really. I mean, he's got stuff that he can get strikeouts with, the changeup and the curveball and a well-placed fastball like he had right there against Brett Lord. But the whip, that's impressive. That's very good. The league average is 1.3. He's at 1.0, which is very good.
Give you an idea, the whip is calculated by adding the walks and the hits per innings pitched. So if you're over 1, obviously, you have a runner on each inning. And as Pat mentioned, the league average is 1.3. 2-0 to Jose Reyes. Reyes hit the first pitch he saw from Hellickson for a single into center. That's 3-0.
He has had, Hellickson, some high walk games this year. One of them was against the Blue Jays. Check that, 2 of them. He had 2 4-walk games against the Blue Jays. 1 in 5 innings. And 1 in 7 innings this year.
Well, the power in the Blue Jays lineup can intimidate you. And Jim Hickey has talked to his starters a lot about it. He said they're aggressive, they're free swingers, and sometimes you get somewhat tentative, and it leads to problems. 3-1 to Reyes. Changeup is popped up. Sean Rodriguez boots it. Boy, he was fighting the sun. Hellickson was right there, and he had a better angle to make the play. Rodriguez filling in at first base for James Loney, and that's what they're dealing with right there, that bright sun.
And when you say a better angle, he's not staring up into the sun. You can see Hellickson has it all the way. And Sean Rodriguez battling it, trying to block out the sun right there. Hellickson, the Gold Glover, that's a time right there where you take control right there. If you see that your first baseman is struggling with that, just call him off.
Reyes has another chance and hits this one to left field. Sam Ford broke back. Now he comes in. He makes the catch, so Rodriguez missing that pop-up doesn't hurt. Jose Bautista will step in with 2 outs, and he's had success against Jeremy Hellickson this season.
The 22nd right here, Rogers Center, hanging changeup, or a changeup that doesn't go down and ball covered by Bautista. He's hit a couple of home runs in his career versus Hellickson. Came into this game hitting .389 against Jeremy.
Bautista popped up to the first baseman in his first at bat. Off-speed pitch. He got a lot of it. Pulled back at the wall. Goodbye, home run. Boy, is that some strength. He was fooled out on that front foot and kept both hands on the bat and got enough of it to knock it out of the yard.
He gets that power and that strength from his bat quickness. Even when you hit a ball, and I think Jose hit this one, down. Look at him go down and get it and just buggy whip that bat through the strike zone. Bat speed and quickness. Home run number 22.
Well, that's a great illustration of how not all home runs are hit on mistakes. That was a pretty good pitch, and a good hitter stayed with it. The Blue Jays are on the board.
How many times have you seen hitters take the ball just like that and weakly ground it to the shortstop or pop it up. Jose stays back long enough and just flicks the bat at it. He is so quick.
Isn't it interesting how when you think of home run, you think of big, powerful swings, but the reality is it's a well-timed, well-balanced swing that usually leads to the long ball.
Do you know whose swing that reminded me of? How he went down there and got it and just kind of like buggy whipped it through? Hank Aaron. I mean, you saw Hank Aaron forever.
Look out. Bat flying into the seats. It appears as though everybody is fine, and that fan has a great souvenir.
Looked like another changeup, and Edwin has been known on off-speed pitches and fastball counts to lose at that.
Plus, we saw that in the All-Star game with Miguel Cabrera. He flung one way back into the seats. And that fan right there got herself a beautiful souvenir. But why does that happen to big power hitters like Encarnacion and Cabrera?
Looking for a fastball and you get an off-speed pitch, just a little bit out front. Ooh.
There's that home run cut, but he swung right through the fastball. It's 2 balls and 2 strikes. The Blue Jays have narrowed the Rays' lead. It's 4-1 on Bautista's 2-out home run.
Just the opposite from last night's game. Blue Jays had a 4-1 lead in the third.
Encarnacion crosses up the defense. That's going to get down and bounce off the wall. Edwin is headed for second. Here's the throw from Myers. Not in time. Take what the pitcher gives you. He was away, and Edwin went with it. It's his 17th double of the season.
It's a good way to hit when you take what they give you. Watch where this pitch is. It looked like a fastball. He came right back to it, and Edwin, after that big swing on strike 2, cuts things down, which he is known to do. 2 strikes, he'll cut his swing down and make contact, and that time rifles the ball into right field.
So Jose Molina had a quick visit with Hellickson on the mound. Adam Lind is the batter. Lind walked against Hellickson in the first. The Rays have gone through a great stretch of performance from their starting pitchers. They've had 16 consecutive starts in which their starter has gone 6 or more innings. That's the most in franchise history.
And we talked about it last night. They had a quality start. Consecutive streak stopped last night.
15 straight as Price was charged with 4 earned runs and 7 innings of work.
That is was a team record.
Pretty good trio of pitchers right there. Price, Moore, and Chris Archer, who we'll see tomorrow afternoon. Matt Moore went in the All-Star break 13-3 and was impressive in his All-Star inning of work.
And we mentioned Alex Cobb. He made is going to make a rehab start. I thought he was their best pitcher the first 2 months of the season.
1-0 to Adam Lind. Outside, it's 2-0. Well, you mentioned it. Hellickson might change his approach once he had that 4-0 lead. That hasn't been the case. He's still trying to get the Blue Jays to chase those pitches off the plate.
Yeah, their game plan is to not chase those pitches. Make him bring it into the strike zone. And he's not. And it's almost like Hellickson doesn't want to have anything to do with Adam Lind right here.
We got Rasmus on deck, but Rasmus represents the tying run. He's already walked Lind this afternoon.
And Colby has homered off of Hellickson in his career.
3-0. Not even close. Lind walks for a second time. So Rasmus will come to the plate with a chance to get the Blue Jays right back in the game. And before that happens, Jim Hickey, the pitching coach, is going to go to the mound. Remember, we talked about the starters having 16 consecutive starts, going 6 or more innings. They're not likely to pull the plug on Jeremy Hellickson anytime soon. They've got a lot of confidence in their starters.
Right now, he is navigating through this Blue Jay lineup. He got 2 quick outs, then gave up the home run on a pretty good pitch to Jose Bautista. Pitched carefully to Encarnacion, gave up a double. Didn't want to have anything to do with Adam Lynn. And that's where he got into trouble earlier in the year, nitpicking a little bit too much for Joe Madden.
That's right. You had mentioned it twice this season. He's walked 4 Blue Jay hitters in 2 previous starts. Well, Colby Rasmus now, after a 4-pitch walk, has got to be thinking about a first-pitch strike, doesn't he?
Well, he grounded out his first time up on an inside heater. Got jammed a little bit. I know he's thinking about make it down. He's a much better low ball hitter than high ball hitter.
First and second, 2 outs. Well, he was geared up inside, but it was off the plate, and it was a changeup. 8-game hit streak for Erasmus. Perfect spot. Down and in. Rasmus didn't like what he saw, but now he's got a better idea about Hellickson's approach in this at bat.
When you see hitters take pitches like that, they're looking for something off speed.
Breaking ball in the dirt. So the patterns we have seen from Hellickson in the past suggest this is a perfect pitch for a changeup. He's got confidence he can throw it for a strike. He'll throw it when he's behind. It's 2-1 now in a tough situation.
And Colby looks like he might be sitting on something soft. That's what happened last night with David Price when he got into trouble with his fastball. He went softer and softer. 82.
There it was. He just has enough sink and threw it in a perfect spot right at the bottom of the strike zone. Is his changeup good enough to throw it back to back?
Yeah, I think so. And he's got the ability to do that and not afraid to do it. Wouldn't surprise me. He just threw a heck of a changeup right there.
He didn't like the first 2 pitches offered by Molina, where he steps off the rubber and they'll start over. Two balls, 2 strikes, 2 on, 2 outs. (92). 82 to 92. That's a good separation between the fastball and the changeup.
That's a great separation right there. 10 to 12 miles per hour. Ideal. And you get that hitter going backwards and forwards. Really mess with his timing.
Encarnacion's going to take third. Well, what a heads-up play. Edwin saw that Longoria was way off the line and deep. Hellickson was focused on getting the pitch from Molina, and watch Encarnacion. Just drifts and drifts and drifts and says, you know what, nobody's going to beat me to third.
Yeah, he's not even running hard. He doesn't have to because Longoria is way off, almost in the hole between shortstop and third base. It's an easy stolen base.
2-2. Rasmus strikes out on the breaking ball, and Hellickson gets out of it. Blue Jays strand a pair. They've left 4 on. But Jose Bautista gets him on the board. his second home run in as many games. Number 22 comes with 2 outs against Jeremy Hellickson. Second, the Blue Jays will take on the Los Angeles Dodgers. You can join Carlos Delgado, the Hall of Famer Roberto Alomar, Sean Green, Alex Gonzalez, Jose Cruz Jr., Lloyd Mosby, and other Blue Jays legends for an on-field baseball fantasy camp in Rogers Center. Proceeds from the event benefit the Carlos Delgado Extra Bases Foundation. Learn more about it at bluejays.com/Delgado. Monday, July 22nd.
Well, Luke's got up, so you know what's going to happen. They got the shift over, but look at Jose Reyes playing in between second and third. That's just in case Luke Scott bunts. And guess who leads their team in bunt hits? Luke Scott.
Yeah, and he's a guy that will take a shot, especially leading off an inning.
Yes.
I mean, it's a good play right here if he were to bunt it, but now with 2 strikes, Reyes is going to give up his position at short and move to a more traditional position, deep at short.
Okay, anything to get a rally started.
And Burley strikes him out. Ball's in the dirt there, and Sabia puts the tag on him. 1 down here in the 4th.
Save during the plumbing, cooling, and electrical expert sale only at Home Hardware and Building Center locations. Homeowners helping homeowners with expert advice.
Beautiful Saturday afternoon in Toronto. Some people enjoying Lake Ontario, and a lot of people at the ballpark. Jose Molina chases that first pitch in the dirt. Burley's starting to get that strike zone zeroed in.
That's better. That looked like it might have been his cutter on the outside corner. He loves to work quickly. Never shakes off the catcher. Has a lot of confidence in what the catcher puts down in certain situations. He doesn't want to think about that. All he wants to think about is moving quickly and concentrate on executing his pitches.
Missed that pitch inside. I always thought that was my job as a catcher, to take the theory out of the pitcher's hands and just have him focus on execution. Burley reaches for it, but remembers he's got Reyes at short, and Molina is thrown out for a second time by Jose Reyes. 2 down. Well, Burley's done a good job in the bottom of this order. He has attacked them quickly and effectively. Sam Poole got him for a leadoff single in the 3rd inning, and Poole would come around to score on Evan Longoria's fielder's choice. Tampa Bay has a 4-1 lead. As Pat mentioned, Blue Jays had a 4-1 lead last night after 3. Only to see that evaporate.
Home runs got him back into that game. of Tampa Bay. And when you think of Tampa Bay, you don't think of a team that can knock the ball out of the ballpark until this year.
They have 110 home runs as a club now. Who bounces it foul. When you look at the Rays and you talk about home runs and you say, well, the Rays aren't really a home run ball club. They're 5th in the American League in home runs, 4th in runs scored. Last year they were 11th in the American League in runs scored. And they'll talk a lot about Kelly Johnson and Yunel Escobar adding some depth to their ball club and the addition of James Loney.
Yeah, James Loney.
Escobar still out with that hamstring strain.
Hoping to see him tomorrow in the field. That's what Joe Madden said. Heard her right before the All-Star break, late in the game last Sunday.
He left that ball game Sunday and hasn't played since. He was out earlier this afternoon running here at Rogers Center. That looked like strike 3. Burley thought so. He was headed toward the dugout.
Cutter.
All right, that close call really cost Burley as he walks full. That's the 3rd walk that Burley has allowed, but more importantly, that turns the lineup over back to the top of the order. Desmond Jennings has reached twice. He's walked and singled, and he's scored 2 runs already. Jennings has turned into a terrific leadoff hitter. With 2 runs scored now, he has scored 65 on the season. An excuse me base hit. Everything he swings at Rogers Center is a base hit.
Doesn't matter who's pitching. I mean, everything. Even when he doesn't swing, he comes up with a base hit. That's a check swing. And he hits a line drive. Watch this. Tries to check it up on a pitch down and away. And that is a solid single to center field.
He's walked, had a bunt single, and now a check swing single. Is that a perfect day?
He can go grab a stool out of the clubhouse and take it up there and get a hit.
Hit with one of the legs. 2 outs, 2 on. Ben Zobrist, he's been on base twice. He had a bunt single and a walk. Boy, how about that close pitch to Sam Full? Looked like strike 3, and now Burley has had to deal with 2 extra hitters in the inning.
Yeah, it's going to add some pitches to his pitch count. And the pitchers are usually out around 100 pitches. He's now at 70. And he looked like he was getting in a nice little groove there. Staying in the windup and moving quickly, throwing strikes. Hadn't given up a hit since Myers single in the 3rd.
It's that changeup over. It's 2-1.
Now he has to deal with a couple of runners on and a very good hitter.
Now he's got Zobrist at the plate and Longoria on deck. Looked like he was out of the inning by striking out the number 9 hitter, Sam Full. I got a call there. That ball may have been off the plate inside.
Do you think he might be looking over the on-deck circle also and seeing Evan Longoria? And you got to make a pitch here.
2-2, 2 outs. Missed. Again, Zobrist looking out over the plate, wouldn't chase that inside pitch. It's a full count, 2 outs. Sam Full at second, Jennings at first. They'll both be off on the pitch. Aaron Sebia, the catcher, asked for time as Burley was set to work. There go the runners. Zobrist drives it into the outfield. Bautista, the right fielder, gives way to Rasmus, the center fielder, and the inning is over. Burley gets out of it. Tampa Bay strands a couple more. When we come back, it'll be Meiser Estura starting things off, followed by Aaron Sebia, who homered in last night's game, and Rajay Davis. He's already singled this afternoon. fans from the Children's Hospital of Eastern Ontario in Ottawa. While over in the Jays Care Community Clubhouse, we welcome guests from Sick Kids Hospital right here in Toronto. Great afternoon to be at the ballpark, and we hope you're all having a great day. So far, Tampa Bay has a 4-1 lead, but it's a gorgeous day and a big crowd on hand here at Rogers Center. Another Junior Jays Saturday. Jeremy Hellickson will work to Asturis Arancibia and Rajay Davis here in the fourth. And if somebody gets on, it'll be Brett Lordy. Asturis grounded back to the pitcher his first time up. Boy, just when you think you're going to get a fastball from Jeremy Hellickson, he never gives in. He always has the confidence to throw that changeup.
It's almost like he's in the head of the opposition. He knows what they're looking for, and he just throws something different. Jose Molina has something to do with that. He's a pretty smart catcher back there. He's been around for a long time, and he knows these Blue Jay hitters.
Outside. Hellickson learned that changeup from Dick Bosman, who is a longtime major league pitching coach in the big leagues, and now he's a pitching coordinator for Tampa Bay in the minor leagues. And Bosman showed him that changeup in the minors, and boy, has it been a great pitch for him.
For a guy who doesn't throw that hard, he throws at 91, 92 miles an hour. Changeup is a beautiful pitch, and it really complements that low 90s fastball.
Out in front of that off-speed pitch, and Asturis hits it into the seats. Well, the entire definition of a changeup is the change of pace, and what you're trying to do is disrupt the timing of the hitter. And you see it every day in batting practice, same as I do. Hitters complain when it's a mile or two off, and that's at 62, 63 miles an hour. So when you have the ability, as Hellickson does, to go from 92 with the fastball to 82 with the changeup, you can really create problems for hitters.
That's all you need. And the Rays pitchers are well schooled in the minor leagues. First of all, fastball command. They're not going to even sniff the major leagues if they can't command that fastball, and then they have to be able to command that changeup and throw it for strikes.
Got another walk for the Blue Jays. Hellickson has walked Lynn twice. Now he walks his Asturis to start the fourth. Something about the Blue Jays, he's just not anxious to challenge them.
Well, the Jays have a good game plan against him. They know that he likes to nibble. And they know that he doesn't throw his fastball in the zone very often. So they're going to wait him out, and they're not going to chase all that other stuff off the plate. The changeup and the curveball. They're not going to chase it.
JP Arancibia takes the first pitch strike. Arancibia cubed one off the end of the bat his first time up and dribbled it back to the mound. Ground ball, deep at short. Zobrist in time to get the lead runner. That's all they'll get. And Zobrist gets the force out at second, one down.
You could win a trip to Alcatraz. Look in specially marked cases of Sleeman. No purchase necessary. Legal drinking age required.
Good crowd on hand at Rogers Center, and it's a gorgeous day. 26 degrees at the start of this ball game. Rajay Davis, the number 8 hitter, had a single to left field his first time up. You just never get that pitch you're looking for from Jeremy Hellickson. Rajai hit that right off the end of the bat. It was another changeup. You've hit against guys like this that appear to be very comfortable, and you talk about it. Comfortable 0 for 4. You go up there and say, well, I got this guy. He's got nothing that can overpower me, but you never really square the ball up.
So what's a good game plan against a guy like this? I don't think you can look for certain pitches. He's just going to cross you up. But I think you can look for certain areas against somebody like a Hellickson. For a right-handed hitter, that might be down, or might be down and away, at least till you get to 2 strikes. And I think if you have that approach, if you go up there thinking, I'm going to hit everything, he's going to mess you up.
I think that's a good idea. Maybe you take the outer half and say, okay, I'm going to stay on everything, because he doesn't have that 96-mile-an-hour fastball that you have to guard against.
Right. Or you say, okay, he might want to come in, so I'll look for the ball in, at least early in the count.
Another pitch off the end of the bat. That one was with a 92-mile-an-hour fastball. You can see that Davis is really back and forth. He's not really sure what he's going to get from Hellickson.
But I don't think you can look for certain pitches. You've heard theories, okay, I'm just going to look for a fastball early in the count, or I'm going to look for his breaking ball early in the count. I don't think you can do that with this guy. He and Molina working together, you know, they're forming a nice little tandem here, getting inside the hitter's head, but you can look for areas, look for spots.
Pulled just outside of third, foul. Longoria was playing close to the line.
Remember Mike Boddicker?
Yep.
Mike Boddicker is a lot like, or Jeremy Hellickson is a lot like Mike Boddicker. Smart, very cerebral. He's got the curveball and a great changeup. Boddicker used to call it the Fosh, if you remember it, and just enough fastball. I think same type of thing. You can't go up there looking for certain pitches, but you can look for certain areas, and eventually he's going to find that area, and you're going to be waiting for it. Hellickson is a lot like Boddicker.
Another 0-2 pitch to Rajai Davis. Another off-speed pitch. Davis strikes out. Third strikeout of the afternoon for Hellickson.
Looking for an area maybe away. That's where he stayed against Rajai. Stayed everything away. Rajai out on that front foot. It's just not there. You start your swing and the ball hasn't even arrived yet. I mean, that's what the changeup, the effect that it can have on your swing. And then you go up there and say, okay, I'm going to look for a changeup. He throws you a fastball. It looks like it's 105 miles an hour.
Brett Laurie called out on strikes his first time up. Ball on the strike. Hellickson threw that fastball in the strike zone, but we haven't seen him throw many fastball pitches inside the strike zone. He's wanted to get the hitters to chase more than anything.
Go after that ball. Expand the strike zone. Good job laying off that curveball.
I would think this would be the type of pitcher that would really create problems for Brett Laurie, because as you mentioned, he's got a lot of moving parts, and those moving parts need to be in sync and have a good sense of timing, and Hellickson's always going to be a challenge for hitters like that.
Well, the one thing you want to do is stay back. You don't want to get out there too quickly.
2-1, 2 outs. Ball is lined to right. Will Myers comes in and makes the grab. Laurie is retired. Blue Jays leave a base runner. We'll go to the 5th. It's a 4-1 Tampa Bay lead. Now time for a Blue Jays Central update. Here's Jamie Campbell and Greg Zahn in the Blackberry Broadcast Studio. Big Time Sports with Bob McCowan every weekday on Sportsnet 590, The Fan. We move to the 5th inning. Tampa Bay has a 4-1 lead. Evan Longoria takes the first pitch strike. Longoria picked up an RBI in the 3rd inning on a fielder's choice. Blue Jays couldn't turn 2. Longoria, his 54th RBI of the season.
They had a couple of chances to turn 2 in that inning and just couldn't get it done. That's been a problem that the Blue Jays have had all season long, as Rackley, the home plate umpire, is getting questioned by John Gibbons, but turning the big double play. And John Gibbons was telling me earlier this week that they think Laurie, with that good strong arm, is going to be able to turn those tough double plays.
Evan Longoria sneaks one past Burley into center field for a leadoff single. And Longoria just reaches out and stays with it, and ball sunk right under the glove of Burley. So now the rookie, he's had some first series at Rogers Center. Had 3 hits in last night's game, including a home run. He's had a sac fly and an RBI single so far.
First series outside of the United States, right?
Yeah. Asked him this morning, have you ever traveled outside the United States? He said, nope, first time. He is a big fan of George Brett. They worked together in Kansas City. And he hits this ball hard into the seats. He was drafted by the Royals and acquired by Tampa Bay in a trade. And he said he and George Brett talk once a month about hitting. And they have a similar approach to plate in that neither one of them uses batting gloves. And he said Brett talked to him about his thoughts about hitting without gloves. He said, I like the feel of the bat in my hand, and I never used gloves at all. Chases that breaking ball off speed pitch, and he strikes out.
Save during the plumbing, cooling, and electrical expert sale only at Home Hardware and Building Center locations. Homeowners helping homeowners with expert advice.
One out here in the top of the 5th. Barely strikes out Will Myers. Longoria at first. Roberts goes after the first pitch and hits it off the end of the bat. Bautista with a fine running catch. Bautista stayed with that ball. It was sinking very quickly. Dove, caught the ball, got to his feet to retire Robertson, and took a shot at Longoria back at first. Great effort by Bautista.
Yeah, you know what he did? He didn't give up on the ball. He saw it off the bat, sprinted hard, and then just kept going after it. Comes up with a great catch. Mark Burley certainly appreciates that effort by Bautista.
Yeah, and that was a determined effort because it looked like that ball had a chance to get down. It wasn't hit that well, and it was sinking very quickly. John Rodriguez takes the ball.
And then how about Jose comes up, tries to get Longoria over at first base. I mean, he plays the game hard. He plays it the right way.
There's a drive past Isturis into left field. Longoria will stop at second.
John Rodriguez in there against the left-hander. Smokes a ball by Isturis at third base. 7 hits now for the Rays. It's a team that, for me, offensively, they can start rallies with walks or errors, maybe a single here and there. It seems like they are relentless at the plate. They just keep coming after you.
Luke Scott goes after the first pitch, hits it off the end of the bat. Brett Laurie at second will throw him out to end the inning. Mark Burley gets some defensive support. A fine catch by Jose Bautista in the outfield saves him another run. hand. And you can see there are a lot of Expo fans in the crowd today. There's a large contingent that have come to the ballgame here at Rogers Center to remember the great Expos franchise in Montreal. 1968, they had the expansion draft. Jim Fanning was in charge of the draft that year. They drafted a young player named Rusty Stahl, who became Le Grand Orange.
Le Grand Orange. How about that? One of the best farm systems in all of baseball.
Of course, they had that great year in 1994 when the strike hit. They were 74-40. Best team in baseball. Beautiful uniform. That certainly brings back great memories of all those wonderful players that Montreal put out. Jose Reyes starts off the bottom of the fifth with a clean single into right, his second hit of the afternoon. Well, about time the Blue Jays did something against Jeremy Hellickson to get to him. Top of the order is always a dangerous spot.
Third time through right now, and Reyes gets us started with a clean single. Good looking swing right there from Reyes to get it going.
Jose Bautista homered his last time up, his second home run in the series.
As Hellickson goes through the lineup for the third time, the fastball, he uses it about half the time now that he did the first time through the lineup. So you can start looking for something off speed from him.
Bautista had a good cut at that first pitch. Good fastball that's foul back. Yeah, and this is the challenge for any starter, is to make adjustments through the course of the game. You see one of three left-handers, Alex Torres, begins to loosen up for the Rays. Hellickson's very quick. We talked about that move before.
You're right. You picked up on that in the first inning, that he's got to make a definitive move to first base. At that time, it looked like he just kind of spun around. No argument for Joe Madden. Watch the front leg.
Boy, no question about it. He used that little bent knee move, and that was a move that was developed by the Baltimore Orioles back in the 60s. Wally Bunker was one of the best ever at that. Just flexed that knee ever so slightly, and oftentimes that runner would break towards second, but that time Hellickson is called for the ball. So now the complexion of this inning has changed dramatically. Man at second base, nobody out. Bautista already with an RBI on that solo home run in the third. The second balk that Hellickson has committed this season. Bautista takes one on the outside corner, and he didn't like that call. Remember, the Blue Jays have been on the home plate umpire, David Rackley, with Burley on the mound. And Rackley has responded, and they went back and forth the last half inning. Oh, 0-2, Bautista's got a battle. Bautista had a terrific pitch for a home run his last time up. Looked like a changeup that was about shoe top high.
And he went down there and got it. I don't think he'll throw him that pitch again. High fastball might be a good idea.
Well, he threw one right down Broadway.
Here's the pitch that you were just talking about. Third inning to Jose Bautista. Change up, go down and get it. Right off the shoe tops. And puts it into the bullpen. Blue Jays' only run this afternoon.
Bautista fouled back that fastball, and it was right down the middle.
Yeah, look at that. Number 3 on pitch tracks. Couldn't place him in the middle of the plate any better than that.
Another 0-2 pitch. Reyes at second base. Hellickson's not concerned about early dinner reservations tonight. He is certainly taking his time.
Well, he doesn't eat till 6, so it doesn't matter. More signs with that runner at second base now.
Two and two. Again, this pitch screams changeup. A 2-2 pitch to Bautista, even though he had a changeup last time. For me, that's Hellickson's best pitch. Think he goes right back to it?
I'm thinking curveball myself. I mean, he hasn't thrown too many curveballs to Jose. He hasn't seen too many of them. And with that high leg kick, that might mess up his timing also.
You were right on the money. Curveball gets away from Molina, and Reyes moves to third base. It's a wild pitch, so Hellickson has contributed to his own problems. He's committed a balk and now thrown a wild pitch.
Yeah, single, balk, wild pitch, runner on third base, and now you just have to forget about him. That runner at third base, you kind of concentrate and get Bautista. You got a 3-run lead. Held on to that curveball just a little bit too long.
Reyes now at third base, still nobody out. The Rays are going to play the infield back. I mean, there's a good idea. 3-2 changeup. Encarnacion on deck. Time to get back in the ball game for the Jays.
They got the right people at the plate.
Popped up. Sean Rodriguez down the right field line. Makes the catch. He'll throw home, and Reyes has to stay put. Bautista popped up on the 3-2 pitch. So now Edwin Encarnacion looking to pick up Bautista. Edwin had an opposite field double in the third. Before we see this next pitch, Jim Hickey's going to come out and have a chat with Hellickson. Hickey, the pitching coach, compiles a very extensive scouting report for every one of his pitchers. And as we mentioned in last night's game, prior to that game last night, Hickey sat down and watched 600 at-bats. So he has seen the strengths and weaknesses of the Blue Jay hitters, and he has gone to the mound to remind Hellickson how to approach Encarnacion.
He'll match that up with his pitcher's strengths. We also had a shot at him going over the at-bats with tomorrow's starter, Chris Archer. I mean, he's very thorough, Jim Hickey. He works very well together with Joe Madden.
There's Archer in the middle of your screen there. He will start tomorrow. He's coming off his first career big league shutout. One out. Off the plate inside. Hickey has tremendous respect for the Blue Jays lineup, in particular Bautista, Encarnacion. He talked extensively to us about those two hitters yesterday. And he feels they're both very good breaking ball hitters. Bouncing ball, that'll score a run. Reyes comes in to score. Longoria throws out Encarnacion, and the lead is now 2 runs, 4-2 Tampa Bay. So Edwin drives home Reyes from third base on the ground out. That's his 74th ribby of the season.
Infield playing back, just make contact. It's an easy RBI. Looked like Hellickson tried to sink a couple of balls that Edwin just pounded into the dirt, but he gets the job done. Reyes scores. Cuts the lead to 2.
So Adam Lind, and Hellickson hasn't wanted anything to do with Lind this afternoon. He's walked him twice. First pitch changeup. He has total confidence in his ability to throw strikes with that changeup.
First 2 times that Lindy was up, there were runners on base, and he didn't want to have anything to do with them. Now it might be a little different with nobody on.
Oh, 0-2. Driven down the right side, but that's going to reach the seats foul. He got a little too much of that plate with his breaking ball. Molina appeared as though he wanted it in the dirt.
Yeah, and he moved up too, and Adam Lynn smoked him on the back swing.
David Rackley, the home plate umpire, allowing Molina to regroup a bit. See, knocks his glasses off. Watch the backswing. Molina comes in.
Bam.
Jeez. It's one example where that hockey style mask is protective. He will let you chase if you want.
Yeah.
He's not going to throw too many down the middle. You can see how he's attacked Lynn here. Everything is on the perimeter.
He's done a good job of laying off those borderline pitches. There's another one. Not too many fastballs in the strike zone to the Blue Jays. And that is by design.
Off-speed pitch down to first. Rodriguez steps on the bag and the inning is over, but the Blue Jays have cut into the Tampa Bay lead. It's a 4-2 Rays lead. Now it's time for the Home Hardware Cleanup Crew, brought to you by Natura. Home Hardware's exclusive line of safe, environmentally friendly cleaning products. Fans are reminded the Blue Jays on the Super Camps are presented by Baseball Canada and Little League Canada. Moncton, New Brunswick, August 8th, 9th, and 10th will be the site at Kiwanis Park. Instructors will include Roberto Alomar, the Hall of Famer, Homer Bush, Jesse Barfield, Juan Beniquez, and Dwayne Ward. Visit BlueJays.com/Baseball Academy for more information. Jose Molina goes after the first pitch. Laurie dives, and it's a fine play. One down here in the sixth.
There's some of that athleticism that they have talked about at second base and the range for Laurie.
It's going to take him a while to get acclimated to second base. It's totally different. Third base is a reactionary position. Second base, you've got more time, of course. You're further away from the hitter. Ball takes longer to get to you. And there's just a different mindset to playing second base.
Yeah, at second base, the one advantage you have is you're looking almost straight in. and you can get better jumps on the ball because you can see the flight of the ball and where it is, and you can actually lean into certain pitches and get better jumps on it. Third base, it's hard, especially with a right-handed hitter. That swing comes through and the bat almost blocks out the flight of the ball sometimes on those line one hoppers. But second base should work out for him.
Adam Lynn takes the grounder, throws to Burley, and they just barely beat Sam Gould in time. 2 quick outs. Gould retired on the 3-1 ground out. Well, you played in the infield and you played at third base, and you're right. Sometimes the third baseman will watch the pitcher as he winds up and then track the ball. Now he's got to pick up the hitter, and that can really create timing issues.
In a right-handed hitter, when he swings, the ball disappears sometimes because the bat is coming through the strike zone, and you don't pick the ball up as quickly, and that's why it's reactionary position. I also played second base, and it's actually a little bit easier because you can watch the flight of the ball and you can anticipate where the ball is going to be hit because you got a great view looking straight in. It's like our center field camera right here.
Yeah, and you can see the flight of the ball and how the hitter is approaching the baseball, whether or not he's going to pull it or hit it to the right side.
You can see the signs from the catcher.
Hot shot up the middle. Desmond Jennings has his third hit of the afternoon. He's been on base 4 times. Burley has thrown 92 pitches. Aaron Luke, the left-hander, appears to be ready in the Blue Jays bullpen.
Nearing that 100-pitch limit that the Jays have put on some of their pitchers. So right back to the bullpen.
Ben Zobrist, he single, walked, and flied out. 1 for 2. Jennings is 15 for 21 in steals. And even though Burley is tough, this is a time you can gamble. You've got a 2-run cushion with 2 outs. There he goes. Went on the first move. Lynn's throw to Reyes is in plenty of time. And Jennings is out. They rolled the dice, and Burley was up to the task. He went to first base. Lynn makes a good throw to Reyes, and Jennings is the final out of the inning. Desmond Jennings was guessing with Burley. He guessed home and guessed wrong, and then Lynn makes a good throw to Reyes, who puts the tag on Jennings. Baseball partnership. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership. Junior Jays Saturday at Rogers Center. A lot of kids in attendance, having a great time and a good crowd. 42,639 in attendance for this beautiful Saturday afternoon ball game. New pitcher for Tampa Bay will be the left-hander Alex Torres, making his 17th appearance, and look at his numbers, and they are impressive.
Boy, since he's called up on June the 1st, he leads all major league relievers with that ERA at 0.41 for a season total of 0.343. Righties hitting 157. He turns his fastball over. He has really pitched well. He's got a great sinker, throws lots of strikes.
So the Rays will see their consecutive start streak snapped at 16. They had a streak of 16 consecutive starts of 6 or more innings from their starter. That'll come to an end this afternoon. Jeremy Hellickson goes 5 innings. We mentioned the Rays have 3 quality left-handers in their bullpen. Alex Torres, Cesar Ramos, and Jake McGee. Much like the Blue Jays.
Yeah, with 4 of them, all quality, and they're all different. Jake McGee, the left-hander who throws hard. Here's a good pitch from Torres. Ramos doesn't throw as hard, and Torres just throws strikes. Quality pitches.
Jeremy Hellickson is out of the ball game, and this streak they put together, our 18-4, is built around the strength of their starting pitchers. And we'll look at the 2 teams and how those starters match up.
Well, ERA for the Blue Jays over 5, under 4 for Tampa Bay. Innings per start, 6 innings for the starters for Tampa Bay. I mean, this is a team that just carries them. That starting pitching and the great defense, you can win a lot of games with that combination.
Meister chases that off-speed pitch. The Rays have averaged 6 innings per start for the season. Blue Jays, by comparison, just 5 1/3. So anytime you can get your starters to give you 6 innings and then turn things over to the bullpen, there's a pretty good chance you're going to be in a good position to win the game. Torres is from Venezuela. He's 25 years old. Torres now with a 2-2 count. Torres came to Tampa Bay along with Sean Rodriguez in exchange for Scott Casby. Torres gets jammed. Longoria to his left. 2 down.
Well, that is just good scouting right there, having baseball people scouting other organizations, knowing those organizations better than they do, stealing a young lefty like this. That trade was made years ago, too.
Yeah, it was in 2009. Joe Madden was involved with the Angels for his entire career, so he had a real good take on some of the young minor leaguers.
And this kid Torres is still just 25 years old.
Aaron Sebia with an 0-2 count very quickly, and this Torres has really added depth to their bullpen. And early in the season, the bullpen wasn't a concern. There's that pitch that's always important. It makes a hitter move their feet. And it takes a pitch or 2 to get reacclimated.
Get comfortable in the bag or in the box. I bet you he goes outside again now with that fastball that he turns over. There it is.
Zobrist deep, it's short. Reaches back for a little extra, and nice scoop at first by Sean Rodriguez. So Torres comes in and has a clean inning in the 6th. We'll go to the 7th. Tampa Bay has a 4-2 lead. now to wrap up this 3-game series. The last time he pitched against Tampa Bay was on the 26th of June, and he two-hit them for 9 innings. He salvaged the final game of that 3-game series. He is anxious to have a strong second half, and it all begins tomorrow at 12:30 Eastern Time. That's 9:30 a.m. Pacific Time. All across the channels, and we'll be right after the pregame show. R.A. Dickey matches up against Chris Archer. Ben Zobrist was at the plate when Desmond Jennings was caught stealing. That ended the top half of the 6th inning. That's a fair ball. Izturis from his knees. They've got no chance of getting Zobrist. He has his second hit of the afternoon. Izturis made a fine effort, but it was hit in a perfect spot. Zobrist, with his good speed, beats it out.
Second infield hit of the afternoon for Zobrist. He's been on base 3 times. Tried to go back in there with the cutter. He just a little bit too quick, right over the bag. Izturis does a good job to get there and keep the ball in the infield. That's not a double because of that play right there by Izturis.
Well, he does a good job to glove it. Evan Longoria takes a first pitch strike. Burley acknowledged the effort of Izturis after that play because that was a double. If he doesn't put a glove on him, it's 2 and a leadoff double to start the inning.
And a good pitch here, get a ground ball. You can turn 2 because of that play.
Longoria is 1 for 3 so far this afternoon. Longoria with a wild swing. Don't see that very often.
No, I mean, very disciplined at the plate. He's got a game plan against Mark Buehler. I feel like he was taking one shot to maybe turn on a pitch and guessed wrong. Probably see him go back to that right field stroke now with 2 strikes.
Ben Zobrist went all the way to second base. He wasn't sure. That ball was low. Got away from Arancibia, and he said, you know what, I'm not going to take any chances in case that's a wild pitch.
Heads up. It was tipped by Longoria at the plate.
Fastball inside just stood him up a bit. We're in the 7th inning. Tampa Bay with a 4-2 lead. Darren Oliver up for the first time this afternoon. Longoria just got a piece of that pitch. Just 71 miles an hour.
Slow curveball. And we talked about that in that Blackberry update about the curveball and the chase rate. He's got to get that curveball close so they chase it, and he'll have success with it.
Longoria strikes out. Just the 4th strikeout for Burley. That's the first out of the 7th.
Save during the plumbing, cooling, and electrical expert sale only at Home Hardware and Building Center locations. Homeowners helping homeowners with expert advice.
.100 pitches for Burley. Will Myers, the rookie, has gone 1 for 2 with a sac fly. He's driven in a pair. Sacrifice fly in the 1st, RBI single in the 3rd. Burley struck him out in the 5th. It's this ball into center field. Rasmus backs up. Myers is retired. Barely a much better effort this afternoon than his last start just before the All-Star break. He pitched on Sunday and went 6 innings, allowed 8 runs on 9 hits.
Yeah, just couldn't get the ball down in that game. Got touched up for 3 home runs. Much better today. The ball's been down. Could have had a little bit more help on the defensive end. Cost him a couple of runs this afternoon.
Breaking ball right on the inside corner. Ball and a strike to Ryan Roberts, the second baseman. Roberts was originally drafted by the Blue Jays in 2003. He was an 18th round draft pick. Came to the big leagues for the first time in 2006. Appeared in 9 games, had just 13 at-bats. Got another cup of coffee in 2007. And then he was signed by the Texas Rangers as a free agent after that season. There's a guided base hit. He just kind of reached out and stroked that ball through the hole on the left side. A base hit for Ryan Roberts. Tampa Bay, another double-digit hit ball game. They had 14 hits in the game last night. That's their 10th hit this afternoon, and this is a much better hitting ball club than we have seen for the last several years.
And Mark Burley, nothing he could do about that last one. He made a good pitch, and the guy hit a ground ball, just happened to find a hole. Could have easily been at one of the infielders, and he'd be out of this inning.
2 outs, Sean Rodriguez. We mentioned Rodriguez, along with Alex Torres, was acquired by Tampa Bay from the Angels. And Rodriguez at the time was a young player, looked like he was going to be a pretty good offensive player. He and Brandon Wood were 2 of the middle infield prospects they had, and they both looked like they were going to swing the bats. They had to choose between the 2. Joe Madden got Sean Rodriguez and Alex Torres, and boy, they've both been big role players on this team.
What a nice trade. Scott Kazmir. Get a couple young players that are going to help out down the road.
Well, and they've done it consistently that way throughout their history. Kazmir was getting close to making big bucks. They did the same thing with James Shields this past offseason.
Matt Garza, same thing when they traded him.
That's all the speculation about David Price. How long do they keep him? How long can they afford to keep him? But to me, he's one guy you got to figure out a way to keep.
Yeah.
Just like Longoria. They've done it with Longoria.
Yeah, he's the pitching equivalent of Evan Longoria. That he's the face of the franchise on the pitching side. You got to figure out a way to keep him in Tampa Bay. Oh, hometown discounts.
Longoria is signed with options through 2023. Burley strikes out Rodriguez. The Rays strand 2 more base runners. Blue Jays trailed by 2. Burley has done a nice job keeping the Rays in check. Bacardi Oakheart Smooth Spiced Rum. Bacardi, proud partners of the Toronto Blue Jays.
Jose Bautista has played a great right field this year. This is going to save a run for Mark Burley. Runner on first base. He never gives up on this ball. Hit by Ryan Roberts, then has the presence of mind to try and double up Longoria at first base. All-out effort, gives up his body to make that catch, save a run. 7 outfield assists, tied for 6th the American League. Smooth move this afternoon from Jose Bautista.
So the Blue Jays well within striking distance of Tampa Bay. Now they've got to figure out Alex Torres in his second inning of relief. It'll be 8-9-1 for the Jays. Rajay Davis has singled and struck out. Goes after the first pitch. Sean Rodriguez in foul ground makes the catch. Torres has retired all 4 batters he's faced since entering the game.
Sean Rodriguez is a good athlete. You can play him all over the diamond if you want to. He's playing first base because James Loney is not here. Ball wasn't hit very high by Rajay Davis. He just runs it down and picks up the first out of the 7th inning.
Brett Laurie is 0 for 2. And he's quickly behind.
Torres comes right after you. Told you since he was called up on June the 1st, the numbers he has put up is outstanding. He's also 3rd in the American League in reliever strikeouts since that time.
And Laurie is out on 3 pitches. He strikes out for the 2nd time, called out by the home plate umpire, David Arackle.
Greg Holland, Koji Uehara, 1 and 2 in strikeouts since June 1st. This guy right here, Alex Torres, is 3rd. Takes a little something off and picks up another strikeout, his 2nd of the afternoon.
Holland was an all-star. Uehara currently the closer for the Boston Red Sox. Jose Reyes is 2 for 3. He needs to get on board. That would bring Jose Bautista to the plate, representing the tying run. And he knows his assignment. He takes his strike. 1-1. Chopped toward third. That's a fair ball. Scooped at first base, and there's your point about Sean Rodriguez. You can put him anywhere, and his athleticism is going to help out. Defense makes another good play. Torres is perfect in his 2 innings of work. Sunday, July 28th, when the Blue Jays take on the Houston Astros. Game time is 1:07 p.m. The first 20,000 fans will receive a Mr. Sub cooler bag. Call Blue Jays for tickets at 416-341-1234. You can always log on to BlueJays.com and order your Blue Jays tickets, or stop by most Rogers Plus locations and pick up your Jays Astros tickets for July 28th. New pitcher for the Blue Jays is the left-handed veteran, Darren Oliver, who is making his first appearance since the 14th of July in Baltimore.
He finished up for Josh Johnson, threw a couple of innings in that game, just a scratch hit with a strikeout. He's won his last 3 decisions. 3.10 ERA, just keeps rolling right along.
Luke Scott goes after the first pitch and hits it to left field. Davis over to cut it off, and Luke Scott continues to hit well against lefty pitching. He's got a 300 average this season against left-handers. For Scott, that's his first hit of the afternoon. That extends his hit streak to 11 straight.
Well, if you're going to play him to pull, I think early in the count, he's just going to try and slow that swing down a little bit, go the other way. Just have to hit the ball. Even a ground ball to the third baseman, he's going to get himself a base hit.
Molina shows bunt, bunts it to first. They've got a shot at second. He goes to second and back to first. Double play. Good job by Lynn, who made a strong throw to Reyes, who was aware it was Molina that bunted the ball. Lowry got over to the bag at first to take the return throw to complete the double play.
That's how you do it aggressively. Lynn charges and didn't even think about it. Never hesitated. Fired the ball to Reyes. And you're right, he knows who the runner is, and he's going to pick up the double play. Here comes Adam Lynn, no hesitation. Seed to second, back to first, double play. That's how you play defense. Be aggressive.
Boy, Reyes has got some arm. He threw that ball flat-footed from second base on the line to complete the double play. Two down, number 9 hitter Sam Fuld. Darren Oliver just manages his innings very well. Gave up the leadoff single, Luke Scott, and then expected that Molina might be bunting. Gave him a pitch to bunt, and the defense helped him out.
A good hard fastball. He wasn't able to deaden the ball at home plate, punted it too hard. Never seems to get rattled. Just goes out there and does his thing. It's fun to watch veterans like this, Darren Oliver. If that doesn't work, I'll try something else. Maybe he'll flip a curveball in here now.
One and two. And Sebia couldn't hold on to the foul tip, and Fuld stays alive. It'll be interesting to see what happens at the trade deadline, and that's July 31st, where non-waiver trades can be made. Darren Oliver certainly would be attractive for many teams in the pennant race, and the Blue Jays have a lot of depth from the left side. They didn't get that call either. Made a good pitch.
You know, if some team would be interested in Darren Oliver and could work out a trade, he would be a very valuable guy. He's pitched in the postseason many times.
Yeah, and he's got a lot of experience. He knows what you're going to get with him. He won't get himself into trouble. He won't walk a lot of guys. And the Blue Jays have 4 relievers in the pen, plus Luis Perez coming back from Tommy John surgery. There's a weak ground ball hit to Lowry at second. Darren Oliver has a clean inning of work. They gave up the leadoff single and nothing more. It is a 4-2 game as we are headed to the bottom of the 8th. Now it's time for a Blue Jays Central Update. Here's Jamie Campbell and Greg Zahn in the Blackberry Broadcast Studio. re-engineered 2014 Acura MDX, the luxury SUV redefined. Experience now at your local Acura dealer.
Jose Bautista once again. Watch him go down and get this changeup. Homers in back-to-back games. This time off the helix of number 22 of the season. He was our smooth move, and now he is our drive of the game. Jose Bautista putting on a show this afternoon.
A great catch in the outfield to rob Ryan Roberts of a base hit. Now he's going to try to get things going here in the eighth. Alex Torres, the lefty, on for his third inning of work in relief.
But why not? He's throwing strikes. He's only thrown 19 pitches in a couple of innings.
Pretty good pitch. Molina wanted it, and Torres didn't get it. Two and 0. Torres has been a starter on his minor league career, so he has the ability to give you multiple innings out of the pen. Bautista taking all the way, it takes her strength. Torres has made 130 minor league starts, so he's got a lot of innings under his belt.
Still throwing strikes, too. That's the thing that impresses me. As soon as he has stepped on the mound this afternoon, he has pumped that strike zone full of pitches. Gets back into it. Bautista thought it was up and in, but it's just above the belt.
2-2. Inside at 94. Torres has legit stuff. There's no question about it.
And you're right. He has transformed that bullpen. 3 lefties now that Joe Madden can go to.
He makes a mistake there. Leadoff walk to Bautista. He hustles to first, but Molina is on it. Rogers customers can watch every Blue Jays game this season on Sportsnet, live on your smartphone. Visit RogersAnyplaceTV.com/sports to get started. Beautiful afternoon in Toronto. Great crowd on hand at Rogers Center. 42,639 in attendance. Anxious for a Blue Jays comeback here in the eighth. They got the leadoff man aboard, Edwin Encarnacion. A home run threat. Hit his 26th of the season last night.
Yeah, it looks like Edwin is geared up for one right here. Looking for something on the inner half.
He's cherry picking right now.
Yep. You can guess location and pitch now when you're ahead 2-0. Torres has to come to him.
For Torres, this is just his third career appearance against the Blue Jays. Home run cut. Oh, he got a good pitch to hit. Fouled it back to the screen.
Torres, we've talked about. 26 innings coming into this game in 16 games, so he doesn't have that many multiple innings. Hasn't given up a home run yet. Joe Madden rolling that dice, trying to get a third inning out of his lefty reliever.
Encarnacion fouls it back. It's 2-2. Well, you made a great point about Torres, how they're trying to stretch him out. Joel Peralta has been worked a lot. So they're trying to ease the workload on Peralta down in the bullpen.
50 games this year for Peralta. And they said, okay, let's try and ease it up. He gives the sign that he's ready if they need him.
Peralta has appeared in more games than anybody in the American League. 50 games to this point. Jim Johnson of the Orioles has been in 48. Matt Lindstrom of the White Sox 47. So they've got to slow down the pace for Peralta. 2-2. Full count. Adam Lind will follow Encarnacion. Lind has walked twice and grounded out to first base. Bautista at first with the leadoff walk. Jose Molina wasn't quite ready. Torres was into his set position, and Molina wanted to start over. Torres, you can see his background as a starter. He's got a nice assortment of pitches and commands them effectively. He's not a one-trick pony by any means.
And if you're saying, well, 3 innings, that's a lot to ask, he's used to it. His longest this year has been 4 innings.
Quite a battle going on here between Torres and Double E. A 7-pitch at bat to this point. Encarnacion has only faced Torres twice. He's 0 for 2, as we mentioned. This is just the 3rd appearance for Torres against the Blue Jays. He has now worked a total of 8 innings against the Jays. Another 3-2 pitch. Back-to-back walks, 2 aboard. Now the Blue Jays take a couple of walks. Joe Maddon's going to take a walk now, and he's called for the right-hander, Peralta. He tried to get a 3rd inning out of Alex Torres, and he walks Bautista and Encarnacion. So the Blue Jays have the tying runs aboard. Bautista at second, Encarnacion at first. Adam Lind will be the batter. Torres turns the ball over to Madden, who will then turn it over to Joel Peralta. His 51st appearance, league leading in the American League. Our AL East doubleheader, the Yankees and Boston on East Ontario, West End Pacific. We'll see you tomorrow afternoon, of course, for the 3rd and final game. Also, CONCACAF Gold Cup soccer on Sportsnet World. It's Panama taking on Cuba right after this ball game. Back-to-back walks issued by Alex Torres, and now Joel Peralta is into the ballgame for his 51st appearance.
Yeah, forget about that record at 1-4. He's always coming in facing the middle of the lineup. That's where Joe Maddon likes to pitch him. 190 for righties, 157 for the lefties. An outstanding whip, just 19 walks. And he's got to really pitch out of a jam here after 2 walks to open up this inning.
Lind takes one upstairs. Lind has walked twice and grounded out. Blue Jays have hung in there all afternoon, and now I would love to be able to come all the way back.
Trying to do it again. The Rays bullpen has coughed up a couple of leads for Jeremy Hellickson against the Blue Jays this year.
Blue Jays have 4 come from behind wins against Tampa Bay this year. Tampa Bay has the season series edge 6-5. Tampa Bay has played tough ball games against the Jays all season long. Molina trying to keep Bautista close at second. Peralta falls behind. He's a little bit like Jeremy Hellickson in that he is unpredictable. He's got a wide assortment of pitches, and you never know what he's going to get you.
And he's very deliberate, like Jeremy Hellickson is, especially with runners on. Fastball, breaking ball, splitter. That's basically what he throws out of the pen, and he just takes his time, thinks his way through, maneuvers his way through at bat.
The Blue Jays have 3 last at bat wins against Tampa Bay this year. Jays have only 5 hits. Tampa Bay has out-hit them 11-5. There were 8 home runs hit in the ball game last night, 4 by each club. There's only been 1 here today. That was Bautista's solo shot in the 3rd.
And it was that threat, Jose Bautista home run threat, Encarnacion threat, that really took Torres out of his game. I mean, he mowed down the first 6 batters he faced in 19 pitches. Bautista led off the 8th inning. It's like he didn't want to give up a hit. Was very careful with him. Then very careful with Encarnacion. Ended up walking both of them. Now Peralta is a pitch away from walking the bases loaded.
Yeah, Torres really put Peralta in a jam. 3-0 count to Adam Lind. You let him swing?
Why not? He's got home run power. He represents the go-ahead run. Why not?
He takes the strike. Everything up and away to Lind. They've got a pretty good idea how they want to attack Adam Lind, not giving him anything on the inside part of the plate. Lind has terrific opposite field power. Peralta is set. Wow, look at where those pitches are all bunched up. Peralta got a call there.
The first 2 were called balls. And that last pitch, worse than the first 2. There it is.
See Peralta touching his left shoulder, some kind of sign to Molina. Little reminder about how they're going to approach Lind here, but there's no guesswork here. Everything has been up and away. Full count, nobody out. Blue Jays down by 2. Bases are loaded. Lind walks, and look at that grouping of pitches. All 6 pitches up and away. They mentioned the 11th games, Tampa Bay has a 6-5 edge. There have been 4 one-run games. Come from behind. Tampa Bay has 3 wins. Toronto has 4 last at bat wins. There you see the difference. Toronto has 3 last at bat wins, and if they can take the lead here, that would make it 4 possible.
Told you, when these 2 teams get together, they're always good games.
Colby Rasmus at the plate. He is 0 for 4 in this series with runners in scoring position. He's stranded 9 base runners. And he's got a chance to do major damage right here.
but not before another meeting between Molina and Peralta. Now Ben Zobrist just wants to come in there and talk about it. The infield's going to play deep. They're going to play double play. They'll trade a double play for a run right here.
Rasmus has never had a hit against Joel Peralta. He's 0 for 8. Meiser Asturias is on deck. Tampa Bay has walked 6 this afternoon. He just can't get that ball into the strike zone. Everything is up and away.
You know, we've talked about the appearances. 51 now, which is number 1 in the American League. A lot of innings. When you're like that, that ball is going to sail up and away. He has faced the 3, 4, 5 batters more than any spot in his order as a Ray.
Popped up and playable. Molina, the catcher, over, makes the catch in foul ground. That's the first out of the inning.
Wow, what a play by Molina. Evan Longoria is deep and shading up the middle because of the left-handed hitting Colby Rasmus. Molina crouching behind the plate. He's got to find the ball, get rid of the mask, and then hustle almost over into the coach's box and watch him calmly basket catch. I don't think Longoria was going to get there. The only guy who could make that play was Molina. That was a heck of a play by Jose.
Dealing with the sun, getting the mask off, and fully aware that he was the best option. Now the Rays are a double play away from getting out of this inning. Meiser Asturias 0 for 2 with a walk. But Peralta just can't finish anything. Yeah. Everything is up and away.
That's right. Can't finish the pitches. Can't get out there, extend and finish it and get the ball down.
Asturias has hit a home run against Joel Peralta. He's only hit in 4 at-bats.
That'll help you to get the ball down.
So breaking ball, finished that delivery and got the ball into the strike zone. It's a ball and a strike. Big Jamie Wright, the right-hander. Jake McGee, the left-hander, starting to loosen up. McGee just now getting up. Great opportunity for the Blue Jays to get back in this ball game. Bautista at third, Encarnacion at second, Lind at first. The kitchen sink. He will throw you everything. Breaking ball, splitter, change speeds on his fastball.
I don't think I'd look for too much right now. Laboring to get that ball in the strike zone. He's not throwing it very hard. You see the numbers in his career, Asturias with the bases loaded. Look for something off speed. Don't commit too quickly. See it before you stride.
Blue Jays are 0 for 5 with runners in scoring position this afternoon. Right on the outside corner, and Peralta picks up his first strikeout.
That whole pitch, that last one was set up by the stuff that Peralta threw to Asturias previously. Splitter, changeup, curveball, and then a fastball that's 92 miles an hour. But it freezes Asturias. And Jim Hickey's now going to go out and talk to his reliever, maybe give him a little bit of a blow here, and just make sure everybody's on the same page against J.P. Arancibia. Arancibia loves the first pitch fastball. I mean, he is ready for it, especially with runners in scoring position. So maybe a little reminder of that from Jim Hickey.
Well, the entire infield is involved in the conversation. Hickey delivered his message Molina and Peralta finishing up the conversation. Obviously, pivotal point of the ball game for both clubs.
Yeah, and a big game for both teams. Both teams want this one.
The Rays have blown 2 leads in the 8th and 1 in the 9th against the Blue Jays this season. Blue Jays came back from a 7-0 deficit against the Rays at Tropicana Field to win on an Aaron Sebia home run. Two outs. You were right on the money. First pitch, looking for that fastball and got the splitter.
Well, he knows there's no place to put him. He's had a couple of grand slams in his career, so he's looking for that first pitch fastball, and Peralta knew that.
Yeah, and Peralta's not going to give it to him. So Peralta is out in front, 0-1. A tantalizing fastball, but not close enough to get the swing from Aaron Sebia. JP hit his home run to dead center against David Price in the 3rd inning yesterday. Just foul. He stayed on that splitter. Hit it hard, but just outside of 3rd. Well, now you got to protect the plate. 1 and 2. Cut down your swing. Put the ball in play. Give yourself a chance to drive in 1, maybe 2 of these base runners and tie it up.
And in the back of your mind as a hitter, you got to think about what he did to the previous hitter. 2 strikes. Snuck a fastball by him. I mean, he might take that chance. I don't know if that would be the right move.
Peralta thought he had caught that outside corner. That's a tough one to take for Aaron Sebia.
Molina tried to decoy him with a high fastball sign. Then they tried to throw one back on the outside corner. Molina holding it there. You're liable to get anything here, 2-2.
Peralta completely unpredictable. Two and 2, bases are loaded. Blue Jays down by 2. Full count. The Blue Jays had a leadoff walk to Bautista. He's at 3rd. Encarnacion, he walked as well, as did Lynn. The bases are loaded. Rasmus popped up. Estoras struck out. Now Aaron Sebia with a full count. The game on the line. Runners will be off on the pitch. 42,639. Anxious for Aaron Sebia to deliver. He stays alive. 92 inside, and he fought it off.
Got a heater. Got a heater. He thought correctly last night against David Price. Price tried to backdoor a cutter to JP, and he homered to center field. Can he do it again today?
Sebia strikes out. The Blue Jays strand the bases loaded. They couldn't cash in. Bases loaded, nobody out. Peralta gets out of it. He gets Rasmus to pop up, strikes out his Sturris, and then on a 3-2 breaking ball gets Aaron Sebia. Tampa Bay holding on to a 2-run lead. Blue Jays will take on the Houston Astros. Game starts at 7:07 p.m. Come on down to Rogers Center early and check out the pregame festivities happening outside of Gate 10. You can win prizes, enjoy the live music, and there's a licensed area. Gates open at 4:30 p.m. Call the Blue Jays directly at 416-341-1234 to pick up your tickets. You can always log on to BlueJays.com to order your Blue Jays tickets or stop by most Rogers Plus locations. Pick up your tickets for Summer Fan Friday festivals.
Casey Jansen into the ball game now to keep it a 2-run game. Can't save it at home, so you got to get Casey in. This is his first appearance of the second half. Finished the first half 18 for 19 in saves. And he's facing that guy again.
Desmond Jennings has been on base 4 times. He has walked and had 3 singles. Fouls this one off Aaron Sebia's mask. Well, Blue Jays had a golden opportunity. Bases loaded, nobody out in the bottom of the 8th. They couldn't cash in. They are 0 for 7 this afternoon with runners in scoring position. Rasmus, Aaron Sebia, and Sturris all unable to deliver. Casey Jansen delivers strike 3 to Desmond Jennings. It's the first out of the inning.
The all-new, completely re-engineered 2014 Acura MDX, the luxury SUV redefined. Experience it now at your local Acura dealer.
Great Saturday afternoon crowd here at Rogers Center. Ben Zobrist batting as a left-handed hitter for the first time. Zobrist has had a couple of hits, both infield hits. He had a bunt single in the first, then an infield hit in the 7th. He's been on base 3 times this afternoon. He's also walked. Darren Oliver worked the 8th inning, gave up a hit and nothing else. Mark Burley went 7 innings. Burley gave up 4 runs, just 3 earned runs. Walked 3 and struck out 5. He kept his team within striking distance.
Yeah, 7 innings for Burley. Scattering those 10 hits. 4 runs. And he battled. He made pitches when he had to. Tampa Bay hasn't scored since the 3rd inning.
Hit curveball, back-to-back strikeouts for Jansen here in the ninth.
4 days off at the All-Star break. Jansen, he hasn't lost anything. I mean, he just paints with everything. Flip that curveball in there against the left-handers to pick up a strikeout. Painted Jennings to get hit. Now gets a tough hitter in Zobrist with that off-speed pitch.
Evan Longoria. He's got 1 for 4 this afternoon. Picked up an RBI in the third inning with a fielder's choice. Longoria is 2 for 8 in the series. Blue Jays have pitched him fairly well. His hit in last night's game was a solo home run.
He came in here struggling just a little bit, but refuses to say it has anything to do with the injuries that he's had. I mean, he's game. He's not going to give in. He homered last night, like you said, on an inside pitch.
And Casey Jansen walks him on 4 pitches. So Jansen pitches around Longoria. He'll take his chances with the rookie, Will Myers. Myers, the right fielder, got the Rays on the board in the first with a sacrifice fly. He picked up another RBI in the third with an RBI single to left. He has since struck out and flied out. Hot shot off the glove of Bautista in the left field. Longoria makes a big turn around second. He'll stop there. It's another hit for Will Myers. His 5th hit of the series.
And the Rays at it again. 2-out walk. Single. They got something going once again. They have already left 8 runners on base this afternoon. Bautista at third base. You can see how low he gets. They're just not low enough as it just hits right off the end of his glove for a base hit.
Ryan Roberts. Aaron Sevilla blocks that ball in the dirt. You look at the Rays lineup and you say, okay, we respect Longoria. He's an all-star. He's got the ability to hit a home run. But you look at the rest of the lineup and their averages are just pedestrian. Of course, the rookie Myers hitting over 300 and just over 100 at-bats. But they have professional at-bats 1 through 9. They all understand the concept of team baseball. You need a bunt, you get it down. You need to move the runner, you hit it to the right side. You need a sac fly, you put it in the air.
Biggest play in last night's game was what? The 0-2 bunt by Sean Rodriguez. The sacrifice bunt right before the base hit that broke the tie.
In the 8th inning against Steve Delabar. And he was behind 0-2. But he never hesitated, squared around, and dropped down a beauty. Ball and a strike, 2 outs.
You know, and I think some of that credit has to go to Derek Shelton, the hitting coach for the Tampa Bay Rays. He really stresses a good approach at the plate, a 2-strike approach when you get into the 2 strikes. Use the whole field. Stay balanced at the plate. Works very hard at what he does. And he's transformed some of these hitters into pretty decent ball players.
Jansen ahead. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Missed with the curveball. Evan Longoria took the 2-out walk, then Will Myers singled off the third baseman's glove. Longoria at second, Myers at first. The Rays have a 4-2 lead. This is driven in the air to center. Colby Rasmus is there, and the inning is over. Casey Jansen gets out of the top half of the 9th inning. The Blue Jays trail by 2. Fernando Rodney, the closer, has been great. It'll be Rajay Davis, the 8-hitter. Then number 9, Brett Laurie. Back to the top of the order, Jose Reyes. The Blue Jays need to rally against Tampa Bay. Half of our AL East doubleheader, the Yankees and the Boston Red Sox on East Ontario, West End Pacific, and CONCACAF Gold Cup Soccer. Sportsnet World, Panama takes on Cuba right after this ball game. So the Blue Jays, it'll be 8-9-1. Davis followed by Brett Laurie, then back to the top of the order, Jose Reyes, and they'll have to do it against a red-hot Fernando Rodney.
Well, you're not kidding. He saw it. He's converted his last 13 save opportunities going all the way back to May the 27th. He's only allowed 6 hits in that span. Now 22 for 27 in saves. Great fastball, outstanding changeup. And he gets a lot of those strikeouts. You see 12 and a half strikeouts per 9 innings off that great changeup.
Fernando Rodney's next save will tie him with Danny Baez at 71 for second place on the Rays' all-time saves list. The all-time leader for Tampa Bay is Roberto Hernandez with 101 saves. And Rajay Davis is looking to get on base against Fernando Rodney. The Blue Jays came back against Rodney down in Tropicana Field earlier in the season. But he is throwing much better right now. Rodney was saddled with a loss. He also has 2 blown saves against the Blue Jays this year.
They were trying to stretch him out, if I remember, trying to get a 5 or 6 out save in that game. That was the game that JP homered to tie it up against Rodney.
First pitch is upstairs for a ball. Well, the Blue Jays have really benefited from the walks, but they haven't been able to take full advantage. 3 walks to start the 8th inning, and they stranded all 3 of those walks. Rodney falls behind Rajay Davis. Molina and home plate umpire David Arackley are having a conversation. And there's one right down the middle.
I think it was the first pitch that he threw this inning. Thought it caught the corner for a strike. And then there's the question. 2-1.
Bounced off home plate. Rodney has to wait for it. Davis can run. He is out by a half a step. Rodney showed patience. He knew that Davis can fly, He had to wait for that ball chopped off home plate and then made a quick throw to Sean Rodriguez.
Didn't get ahead of himself. Said, there's nothing I can do until this ball comes down. Waits, catches it, fires it, and Rodriguez does a good job over at first base to catch that ball around the runner. Stretching out. Look at him stretch out. He's got to go around the runner to catch it.
Boy, that shows how tough those calls are on the umpires, and Jim Joyce got that one right. He has the distinct sound of ball hitting the glove and foot hitting the bag. One down in the bottom of the ninth. Brett Lawrie. Again, Rodney falls behind 2-0. Boy, oh boy, the business part of the Blue Jays lineup just around the corner. Reyes on deck, Bautista behind him.
And if you're the Jays, that's the guy you want to see hitting in the ninth inning, Jose Bautista.
96, but inside. Reyes is 2 for 4 on the afternoon. Bautista then Encarnacion if they could keep the inning going. Three balls and a strike. Tampa Bay has a 4-2 lead. Ball 4. Reyes will come to the plate representing the tying run. That's the 7th walk the Rays have issued to the Blue Jays this afternoon.
It's not a team that walks a lot of batters, especially out of that bullpen.
So the Blue Jays get back to the top of the order. It's Reyes, and then Bautista is on deck, and if they keep the inning alive, then they would get Encarnacion to the plate. First pitch strike. Great changeup, and he's got a good one.
Yeah, we talk about the separation, miles per hour from the fastball to the changeup. That changeup's 87 miles an hour. That's as good as some people's fastball. But he's got the separation because he throws 97.
Another great changeup, and Reyes is down on strikes. You can tell you it's coming. It's got such great movement, and he has such great arm action that it's tough to identify the changeup.
Yeah, throws it out the same arm slot, throws it with the same arm speed, and the ball just doesn't arrive.
Now here's the classic matchup. Great closer against power hitter.
And again, this is the guy the Blue Jays want at the plate. Jose Bautista. He's already done it twice this year in the ninth inning. Rescued the Blue Jays.
He's the one to hit the home run that started their 11-game win streak. He is also 3 for 5 against Fernando Rodney with a homer.
That was the home run off of Addison Reed in Chicago. Started that streak. He also got down to his last strike against the Red Sox. Uehara homered in Boston.
Bouncing ball, base hit into right field. Lawrie is around second. Bautista will stop at first. A 2-out single for Bautista, and that will get Edwin Encarnacion to the plate. Rodney has 2 saves against the Blue Jays, but also has 2 blown saves.
Runner doesn't mean anything at first base, but they elect to hold him on for some reason. And that allows Bautista to bounce a ball over his head. That run doesn't mean anything. if they're playing behind them and letting them have second base, game's over.
Edwin Encarnacion with 2 outs and runners at the corners. Rodney continues to work from behind.
100 miles an hour he hit on that one. Reaching back for a little something extra against Encarnacion.
(100-88), 12 miles an hour difference, and that's a tough assignment for any hitter. But the Blue Jays have gotten to him in the past. Ball and a strike.
Wow, what a pick by Molina. Right there, change up in the dirt. And he picked it. That ball gets by him. Laurie scores. Bautista goes to scoring position. This is 2 plays today that he has made that have been outstanding. The other one was that pop-up last inning off of Rasmus.
With nobody out and the bases loaded, and Longoria playing Rasmus to pull, Molina was the only defender that had a chance to make the play, and he did. 2 balls, 1 strike, 2 outs. Rodney has only allowed 3 home runs all season. The Blue Jays have hit 2 of those. Jam, and he missed it. Right back to Rodney. Zobrist not in time. Laurie comes in to score. It's a 1-run game.
Wow. As good a play as Rodney made to start this inning. Remember when he took his time on Rajay Davis's high chopper? That time looked like game over. Jams Edwin. Fastball right back to him. And he misses it. Here comes Laurie with run number 3. Encarnacion beats it out. And the game continues.
Jim Hickey again trying to calm down the situation with a brief visit to the mound. We mentioned the Blue Jays have had 3 last at-bat wins against Tampa Bay this season.
These are always good games. We said it in the opening. Ellickson and Burley matching up for the 3rd time this year. Every one of them in good games.
There goes Bautista the 3rd, and he steals it without a throw. Well, that's a big move. Ball in the dirt. Gets away from Molina. Could tie the game.
Always heads up. We've seen him with his bat. We've seen him with the glove. And now with his smarts and legs. Bautista's having some kind of game.
Now Encarnacion moves into scoring position without a throw. Defensive indifference, and that is the winning run.
I don't think they were holding him on.
They just changed it to a steal, but you can't say defensive indifference there. He's the winning run. Ball and a strike. Lind off the end of the bat. Jennings is there, and the game is over. Fernando Rodney dodges another bullet here in the 9th. The Blue Jays just can't cash it in at the end.
They had their opportunities. They made the most out of their 6 hits, got 3 runs, but they left 10 runners on base this afternoon. Blue Jays just looking for one big base hit, couldn't come up with it against the Rays.
Against the Rays, the bullpen for Tampa Bay doing a great job. And the Rays have won the first 2. Reminder, coming right up, it's the second half of our AL East doubleheader, the Yankees at Boston on East Ontario and West. We'll see you tomorrow afternoon. Thanks for watching Soccer on Sportsnet World.